My name is Sil, I'm from Belgium.
I'm Violet from Argentina.
Dear family, friends, professors, and members of the EMTM consortium. During the last 2 hours, you've traveled with us through our story. You experienced how we transformed ourselves from a group of complete strangers, exactly 2 years ago in Kolding, to forging friendships across languages, cultures, and above all, diverse personalities. We saw moments of joy, laughter, and utter pleasure. But Violet and I decided to take this moment to also remember the hardships many of our friends experienced the past 2 years. Several members of our EMTM class had to endure the loss of relatives while living with us abroad. Some of us were lucky enough to say personally goodbye to them. But for some of us, it was too late, too far. This graduation is all about celebrating life, our future. But we also want to take this moment to celebrate the life of the dear relatives that passed away. In EMTM, we support each other, we care for each other. Therefore, we invite you for a moment of silence to remember those who were not here with us today. When I was asked to give the closing speech together with Violet, I felt insecure and afraid. I was struck and could not pen down anything.
Well, at least you were not crying, like at every paragraph when we were rehearsing, and sometimes now as well. But, well, Madalena just said that we can show emotion, so here I am, waterworks all the way.
Yeah, we're truly complimentary. She is the emotional side here today. So, how can you really extract the essence of this journey? The experience is so tremendous that it will take many years to truly understand the impact it has on our life. I tried to find out what EMTM meant to me. I tried to search for that one meaningful moment. EMTM is my home. EMTM changed me. EMTM is my home. There are many moments that popped out. Kolding was without any doubt the best time of my EMTM experience. Kolding, a town in Denmark, in the middle of Denmark, would have never appeared on our itinerary if it was not for EMTM. This town has literally nothing to offer. But actually the contrary is true. This seemingly empty space brought us together, forced us to be with each other almost 24/7, almost to some of us, to our own dislike sometimes. And it forged, as a result, the most amazing bond I ever experienced. If I would have a chance to go back to those 4 months, I would immediately take it to relive the warm feeling of togetherness with complete strangers who I discovered to be equally strange as me, equally crazy as me, living the moment in Buen kitchen like idiots. However, there was one moment that struck me. It was not in Kolding, it was here in Girona. Here we transformed from a group of strangers to a group of friends. It's the EMTM family, as they call it.
Yes.
So let me take you back to that moment. It was a moment almost 9 months ago. It was on a late evening that I entered Stasia's apartment. She is not only an amazing cook, but also an incredible mom to her son, Kalen. So Stasia, you see us right now, so... It's one of those common evenings in which people from all over the world come together to share food and celebrate life. The room was already filled with a buzzing, cozy atmosphere. An atmosphere that gives me the feeling of home, a feeling of togetherness, inclusiveness, belonging. A few moments later, the coziness disappears. We gather in a circle and we hold each other. Now a silence fills the room. A silence that is tense and uncomfortable. But a silence that is also supportive as we hold each other firm. Stasia places a computer screen in the middle of the table and clicks on the Skype call button that leads us straight to Iran. Iran is a country portrayed by the West as hostile, but our image is different. In Iran lives a girl that is a human being like me or Violet or you, anyone. Shima picks up the Skype call. She had to leave in the middle of the Girona semester to return home to support her family and her dad against this terrible disease. The contact is brief. Some people say some words, others can't. They keep strong, and others can prevent tears from rolling down their cheeks. Her voice sounds happy to hear and see us, but although she is a strong and positive woman, her voice sounds sad, a sadness that hits me and all the others around me. She asks us to send her family as much energy, positive energy as possible, and we say farewell. This moment was so short, yet so powerful for me. I truly felt connected with the people around me, my EMTM friends. It was a connection that is genuine and pure. It's a connection in which we support each other, no matter what. But after that, the atmosphere changes again. And Stasia's food and our alcohol warms us up, and the evening becomes one of the most heartfelt evenings I experienced. And not much later, it becomes also one of the shortest evenings as I fall asleep.
For you, of course.
As we all know, I fall asleep on the couch every time.
And he got some stuff up his nose as well.
So, but you know, this evening was so significant for me because I saw the power of this program, of EMTM.
Well, talking about being home, in my case, I even felt at home at a place I had never been to before. I had the opportunity of visiting Team China in the 4th semester, and one of the first things I told them, and I had been there like 20 hours maybe, was that I felt I had been there before, as if by knowing them, I had already absorbed the mood of the environment, a feeling of familiarity. We agreed. The world is small for us now. A phrase that still echoes in my mind. When I returned home, well, what was home at the moment here in Girona, I started to make sense out of the profound meaning of this. Borders of all kind, from political to sexy ones, have been crossed. It seems that this special setting, this particular context, this program, helped us to make friends from a totally different reality. And I'm talking about people I would never be friends with at home.
It's true.
It's crazy. It generated a very extraordinary equilibrium amongst all of us. At first, you see the things you don't like about the other and the strangeness, like Sil was saying about us meeting in Kolding. Then you slowly see the things you don't like about yourself, and you accept and you change. And I believe that by now, we can all be ourselves amongst each other, stubborn, emotional, proud, selfish, caring, giving, unstable, and crazy beings.
Violet is right. EMTM changes. EMTM changed me. Many of us often criticize a program. But we should not forget what it has given us. It has given me the richest experience in my life. It made me a more complete human being that is able to reach further and connect to challenges other humans far away from my own home space are facing. Whether it's people fighting against the corrupt government, struggling against corporations who destroy the natural environment and social tissue, people facing prejudice, people fleeing in search for a home, I became more conscious about these challenges. Before the program, I was aware of the existence of these issues, but now I can relate, connect, and care about these through my classmates or through projects like the Western Sahara Experience. I'm not telling you that I'm able to feel what these people are experiencing, but at least I'm able to care. And we should care. We should care about human beings because we all share the same world. We should extend our life world across our political borders. And I wanted to add to this that I became more aware, more conscious about the privileges that I embody. Be it my skin color being white, be it my gender being a man, be it my birthplace, Western Europe, the European Union. I became truly conscious of these privileges that my body represents, and that make my life much more easy than the life of other people.
Yeah.
Especially in this last week, I found it hard and confronting and unfair how one of my classmates had to fight against bureaucratic systems that did not care about her, that did not care about a human, that did not care about her capacity, her potential, and did not allow her to take on the job she deserved and was accepted for. It's a reality that exists for her, but not for me. EMTM is my home. It's like Violet said, we can act around each other like who we are, emotional, stubborn, selfish. It doesn't matter, we act how we are, who we are. So, but of course in any home there are challenges, as Navenka would describe them, such as conflicts between its members. It would be foolish to say that the atmosphere between my EMTM members was always happy and fine. Just the opposite. I think many people experienced at one point or another a moment of conflict, and sometimes they were small, like a misunderstanding or an emotional outburst, but sometimes they were big and they became a challenge, almost unbridgeable. But what's the problem with having a conflict? For me, a conflict is nothing more than also a learning experience. By times I appreciate a conflict, because I can better understand myself. And this also happened to me in Ljubljana. I experienced a conflict with a friend from Asia. It made me feel sad, and it made me even almost feel sick because of the discomfort that was formed between me and her in that tiny, cramped, 4-people dorm apartment of Ljubljana. But I learned that there is not just one way of dealing with differences. And although I don't want to generalize here, I learned that there's the more direct Western way and the more indirect Asian way of solving or dealing with a personal issue. And perhaps I believe that my way is better, and that it should work in my way. It learned me to look past my personal beliefs. And because the other person at the other side grew up in a different system in which my way of acting does not fit. So sometimes when we interact, we are blinded by our emotions, concentrating on the me. I learned to be less selfish and try to understand the other instead of focusing on how I feel. Randy, is for you. See, in the end, it works out. No matter what, it needs some time.
It's time, yeah. Well, talking about Western Eastern, or in my case, Northern Southern, for me and for many others, from what we've discussed many times, it was a major change to come to live in Europe. It is important to highlight that in many of our countries, you cannot walk back home alone at 3 a.m. without being scared, especially as a woman, like we did any other evening in Girona, Ljubljana, or Kolding when we partied or something. These differences are just an element of our diverse realities. This does not mean I do not love my country, because I do. The point that I'm making is that I am extremely grateful for having lived and known a different reality. And I also believe the European Union is being not only generous, but also humble in giving us the possibility to come here, because it knows there's a lot to learn from us, the so-called third country nationals. Experiences such as Erasmus Mundus are awesome both ways, for both parties. It puts each of our dissimilar lives into perspective while merging perspectives. I'm sure people like us can provide new insights and new solutions to many current issues the EU is facing right now, because many of us first learned to survive and then to live in our countries. We have had to care for some issues that might seem so old and so done and so retro or so left behind for EU. But now, this knowledge that we have is useful, and while the world becomes more and more globalized, more and more mobile, and more permeated by the other, what we imply is that we are sure that if more experiences such as these would be possible between different people, the world would be a more tolerant, respectful, and maybe even loving place. Because bonding from a common moment, a common experience, no matter how brief it is, for us, as we understand it, was a solid ground for acceptance. Accepting yourself, first and foremost, and your own reality, where you come from, to then embrace what and who you face along your life.
The value system of our societies has been under pressure in this increasing globalized world. More focus is placed on success, careers, money, productivity, harder, faster, cheaper. But what about what Violet just mentioned? Inclusiveness, understanding, tolerance, respect. We often criticize this program, but perhaps we should learn to look past its mere academics. The academics is just the outer lining. It's what brings us together. Our interest in tourism, development, management, sustainability. But in many cases, tourism is just a tool to develop, to present a society in a certain way. And so for me, tourism is a tool that brought us together. EMTM is for me not about tourism. As we've seen already, it's a learning program about humanity, in which we learn to tolerate and respect, learn from and with each other. This should not be taken. Okay. I remember a moment. I remember a moment at the end of my Western Sahara experience, when Jaume told us that the drivers who were with us the whole time were extremely happy. They said it was the first group they saw interacting so tolerant with each other. And this should not be taken lightly. We found ourselves in conditions that pushed many of us out of our comfort zone. We drove through a minefield. We washed ourselves, cleaned ourselves in poor hygienic conditions. But we still respected each other. Whoever thinks that this program is only about tourism should reflect on his or her experience. The academics is one layer, which I agree needs to improve a lot. But the real value of EMTM lies beyond. Just try to reflect for a moment in the space in which you find yourself in. This is a powerful space, a powerful moment. Take a look around you. Take a look around you, guys, and shake the hands of your neighbors left and right, and ask her, he, where she's from. Go ahead. More than 30 nationalities are gathered here today to celebrate the graduation of a group of people. If we ever want to make a change, then now is the time to do so. Whenever we explain others what we study, we almost tend to say in a nonchalant tone that we study in 3 different countries with more than 20 nationalities. It becomes repetitive, something common. But don't take this for granted. Well, perhaps we should take it for granted. In the end, nationalities are just political constructs that define our differences instead of highlighting our similarities. But the reality is that what we are experiencing right now is such an extraordinary thing. Therefore, don't take your 2-year experience for granted. EMTM is a learning platform, the outcome of a tourism initiative.
Well, regarding this, I wrote a little reflection about the EMTM experience, which was titled EMT Emotional Roller Coaster. I use the analogy because it is very hard to word how many different emotions strike you, how nomadic a simple feeling can be when you're going through EMTM moments. I'm sure you guys also know that. However hard, funny, complicated, isolating sometimes, even when you're surrounded by 32 other people, loving, group hugging, crazy it was. I enjoyed living EMTM as a very extreme amusement park ride. And now that it's coming to an official end, and I say official because like Vali said, we are trending topic, #EMTM never ends. We need to remember that the rides of life are twisting and turning, but they're always forward in time. So we need to make the most of every single moment, like Sil was just saying. Times will not repeat. No turn of this roller coaster will be the same, because we are not the same. This is a tough reality, guys. There is no EMTM part 2 for us, huh? But there will be better and worse things to experience, and they will keep impacting us and making us who we are. And you will all lead your life knowing you are lucky enough to be changed by 32 other people from 24 different countries in the course of 2 years. We all can form a net, not only a network, but also a safety net. No one can take that away from us, and trust me, it is going to be one of the greatest sources of strength and inspiration we will keep falling back on. We have to leave this ceremony realizing we are all fortunate to be right here. And we are in sort of debt towards the world we live in, because we know it is possible to live a good life, surrounded by very different people, and still be in harmony. It's just one line and I cannot say it.
Let's do it together.
We have lived that life in EMTM. It is EMTM.
Let me hug you. I would like to give one more message to my fellow graduates and the whole EMTM family. Don't settle. At one point in life, everyone will start physically settling in a place and create a family, but that's not what I mean with don't settle. I ask you to never fully settle in the system. Don't settle by your actions. Don't be just satisfied with your life and take it for granted. Don't get absorbed in the system that tells you how to behave and how to interact. Keep pushing to make a change in your community. No, just give through what we have learned in EMTM, through positive and negative experiences. Continue the values of respect, tolerance, and create a more responsible society in which more sustainable relationships are formed between humans and nature. I know what I ask is not easy, especially for many of us who live in unprivileged systems that then don't allow to express ourselves freely or make a life a burden instead of facilitating it. But as my friend Brandy from Vietnam told me a few days ago, you always have a choice, no matter what.
I'm sorry, but this is Argentinian tradition. Yeah!
Sign you all up really cheap data plans and keep the class connected.
By visiting your guys one by one till I'm 80.
I will make 3D printed versions of all of you and have a little shrine at home. Hehe, creepy.
I will live with the fantastic memory of this 2-year life trip and in a sustainable way in all respects.
My hometown Hong Kong for sure. Visa-free travel.
In 10 years, we meet each other on the first moon hotel, but only if we can get there sustainably.
In Hawaii, saying hi to Pauline.
SDU Colding Auditorium at midnight.
Everyone sitting around my kitchen table and me stuffing you with currywurst, pretzels, and loads of cake, playing the old songs, being happy.
Farewell means actually saying goodbye for good. And for us, this is not goodbye. It's just until next time or see you soon. I will say this though, my entire life I wanted to see how it feels belonging to a group of people who just understand and click with each other, and all of you made that possible. I will keep each and every one of you in my heart forever.
Never forget, because love never ends.
EMTM, you are my family. Those 2 years were the best and the most fun of my life. It made me feel that I belong somewhere. It went way too fast and I really want to go back in time. The time does pass and distances are created, but we stay a family and we will meet again. I love you all. Mwah.
I will miss endless days and nights of talking, discussing, cooking, laughing, dancing and room dancing, drinking, studying, group work, and every single one of you guys. We learned so much from each other. Let's go out into the world and show them what EMTM means. Diversity wins.
EMTM family, you have been my rock in the 2 toughest years of my life so far. You made me laugh when I felt like crying. You kept me company when I felt alone. And you patched my heart when it was heavily broken. My door will always be open for you and you will always be on my mind.
Guys, it has been the most amazing 2 years of my life. Confucius said, to be able to become friends in this life, you need to live as an ascetic for 100 years in previous life. So to be able to become friends, and even more than that, family with you, I can say that 100 years of my previous life was pretty worthwhile. I love you.
Okay, senoritas and caballeros, ladies and gentlemen, meine Damen und Herren, hey baby from the 70s. Okay, put your hands up in the air, the hand in the air, and everybody sing now.
Well, this is an amazing film we've seen. It's so, I feel like an emotional shower. Thank you very much for what you have done. We very much appreciate the work, your creativity in actually leading and conducting and designing and creating this sort of a unique graduation ceremony. It's so different from all the other graduation ceremonies in the world. Sorry. When I go and watch a film in the cinema, I get excited and I feel exactly the same way. Anyway, just to share something with you before closing this, because while I was listening to this, to your very emotional and touching chat, it made me reflect about, well, you must know that, I don't know my colleagues, but I feel the same. I mean, I have learned so much, and EMTM has changed me so much, and I am not 22 or 23 or 24. I'm more than that, as you can see. It has also changed. It's changing my life every year, in a way. So the only difference is that for you, in a way, EMTM, it doesn't die, but fades. And for us, EMTM really keeps going, only that people is different, challenges are different. And this is a privilege. It's such a privilege. I don't think it's serendipity that created this program. And if you don't know, maybe one day we can tell the little story. Me renting a Ford K while in Porto Roche in a conference, trying to find Tanya Mihalic, who was waiting in the room with the dean of the faculty at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I had no GPS at the time. I had no mobile phone, no maps, had directions that was given by my colleague who had been spending a semester in Ljubljana. I arrived at 9 and 2 minutes, and that's the way EMTM started. And we are here. It's amazing. It's amazing, yeah. So don't underestimate that on the other side, it's also us. And well, I don't know, this is a question. Do you think we are just teachers or conventional teachers or something like that? Or is there anything else? I don't want any answer, but I mean, you are not conventional students, actually. I don't know how to define the way I see you. Obviously, it's not the same as the relationship between you, but I have had children, and it's something similar also to have a teenager, you know. That is a little bit your responsibility while you are part of the program. So actually this is also powerful for us. And I just assume also that the little job that we try to do, you can also understand whether it has any impact at all or not. And I know what I'm saying, right? So I hope you also value the interactions you have with us. Anyway, the ceremony is now coming to an end. All the new masters, you must come to stage and we'll have some photos taken. After this, we all will leave the room and go outside to the cloister. All of us will have the opportunity to have some snacks, some drinks, continue the celebration in a more informal way, and that will be the end of the ceremony. You are invited also to have a look at the photo exhibition. I assume that the photo exhibition is ready. It represents moments of the research field trip to the Sahrawi refugee camps in southern Algeria and the Western Sahara's Free Territory, where 9 of you and me and the Sahrawi colleague managed to go and organize and had a wonderful experience there. So Sil van der Velde has made an effort to prepare this exhibition to be shared by all of you, to raise awareness, as he said, of the fact that tourism is not only about fun. It can be a powerful tool to raise awareness of social needs and bring more social justice to the world. So let's go out, enjoy, have a look at the exhibition, and let's mix this both laughter and weeping, because that's what makes us really human. Thank you very much. So I invited all the new masters to come here, and we'll take a collective photo. Thanks.